and welcome to the latest wildside fishing fly tying video. We're going to do a dry fly today, and it's from a friend of mine from Scotland called Allan Liddle. Now, there is a slight problem. Don't know how to say this. Yeah. Let's just put it this way. Chopping carrots and drinking whiskey is just not a good idea. Anyway, back to the fly. It's called the cow dung hopper, and you get cow dung flies anywhere where you get cattle, basically. Now, Loch Borley in Durness, very rich land, and I used this fly for one evening this year after Alan had put me onto it, and these were 4 fish taken within about 2 hours. So, needless to say, I don't know if they were taking the cow dung for cow dung because it was evening time, but either way, there was the shape, the silhouette, it just worked. So we're going to do this on a size 12 hook. You can use any kind of hook. Perfect. Personally, I like the Camazan, the B170s. And we're going to use an olive thread for this. Now this is a 6-0. You can obviously use 8-0. So we're just going to start the fly. I'll get the silk wound up here just now. We're going to put it on the shank and just give it a few turns round to lock it in. Down we go. And we get to the bottom and we just cut that end off. So, we're going to put a tag on this fly. Now, this is a fluorescent yellow tag. Now, obviously, you can use any kind of fluorescent floss that you like. Fluorescent yellow seems to work for this one. I mean, I certainly can't complain about it. So, we're going to tie this in. Now, usually, I just cut off a length of this stuff and tie it in, so we'll just do it that way. We just give it a few turns in, and then work your way down quite tight, and this just gives it a nice layer of silk underneath to wrap over and keep it in place. So just bring it around nice and tight, round the shank, coming up the hook, and bringing it up, nice, close, tight, touching turns. And once we get up to the point where the hook starts to straighten out, just bring the silk down again and give it a couple of turns to lock it in. So there's 1 and 2. And we just come and trim this off. Now don't worry about the little tag that's left there because we're going to go over that with dubbing anyway. I mean, we can give it one more turn just to make it absolutely secure. Now the dubbing that we're going to use for the body, it's an olive body. And believe it or not, I actually like this awesome possum for nearly all of my dry flies now. I mean, as you can see, it's a nymph dubbing, but it's so easy to use. And you can blend the colours also very, very easily. I mean, obviously, you can use any kind of dubbing you want. The ones I like using is this dark and this light olive, and you just mix them together. So we'll take a pinch of both of these between finger and thumb. I'll just get it out of the box just now. There we go. That's a nice little pinch. And then just between finger and thumb, just pinch them, pull them apart, put them in top, pinch, and just keep on mixing the fibres up. And you're going to get a lovely blend of dark and light here. And once you get enough for the body, just pinch it on, start it small, and work your way down. I mean, this is such easy stuff to work with. I've never found something as user-friendly as this that's actually natural, in all honesty. So, slide it up. Oh, wait there. I think missed the tag. That's it. Let's bring it around, cover up the tag. That's just me being lazy, in all honesty. And just bring it down the shank. And we just need a little bit more on the end there. So we'll take another tiny little pinch there. We'll just spin it on. And just to show how easy this is to work with, I mean, I only need a small bit of this. So a couple of turns, I'm just going to pull it off and give it one turn, and that's it. Nice and fuzzy. Fluff it up a little bit and just pull that off. And we can use that later on. So now we're going to put on legs. It's a hopper after all, and we're going to use pheasant tail. Now I've got red pheasant tail here. I mean, you can use natural. I like the red. It just seems to bring the fish on. I mean, it certainly worked for me, and I've got no complaints. So we're just going to take 4 fibres. There we go. I'm just pull these fibres straight off. I mean, you can cut them. I just pull them again. You might as well. Now we're going to tie knots in these. So to kind of speed the process up, just like Blue Peter, ta-da! Here's some I made earlier. So basically all you've got here, you've got your single fibre and you've got 2 knots in it. So we're going to put these together. Now we're going to tie this onto the fly. The traditional way would be underneath for legs, but we're going to put this on top. Now you want these knots here, just over the back of the hook there. You don't want them too far up or too far down. And the way that I like tying these in is to just bring the silk up there. 1 turn round, let it fall down, let the bobbin fall, and then tighten down and lock it in place. And again, just a few turns round. You can slide it back in to straighten it up if you want. Tighten it down, and then that's them exactly where I want them. Come in with the scissors and just trim off the end. Okay, we've got the legs, we've got the post, and we've got the body, and now we're going to put the wing. Now the wing's going to be this olive deer hair. I really like this olive hair. It's from a company called Hens. We're just going to take a small pinch. We don't want a huge, massive wing. And the deer hair obviously helps the fly float a little bit. Not that it's a very high floating fly. So we're just going to cut it off, as always, at the bottom. There we go. And we're going to pull out any fluff that we see there. You can use a rake or a needle if you want. This stuff's relatively fuzz-free. Then we're going to get our stacker, as always. Tips first, in you go. And then on the coffee table, tap, tap, tap. And pull it out, and we've got the hairs nicely stacked. So, we don't want an overly long wing on this. I'm just pulling the rest of that fuzz out. We don't want this to be like a huge wing like that, you know. We want this to be quite a small, compact wing. About there. I mean, the tips shouldn't be coming really much further past the bend in the hook. So we're just going to snip off those ends, and we're going to leave ourselves enough to tie it in with. Now the most important, oops, now there, lose some of the hair. The most important thing when you do this, you mustn't let this hair spin round. This is not like a muddler head. So we're going to bring the silk round, and we're just pulling it down nice and tight. Now don't worry about cutting off some of the hair here as well when you pull down. Just make sure that it does not spin. And once that's locked in place, you just work your way through the hair, and don't worry about this getting too messy, because we can come and trim this off. There we go. I lost a wee bit of hair there, but it's absolutely perfect place, exactly where I want it. Now we come in and we trim off those cut ends. Careful not to nip your thread. You'll see I'm pushing the silk out the way with my thumb when I'm doing this, just to make sure I'm not going to, because it happens to the best of us. There we go. Just come in and just take away as much as you can around the eye. I mean, the stuff that's left on the shank, we're going to tie over that anyway, so it doesn't really matter if it's there. There we go. So we've got bits to tie off here. Very good. So we've got wing, we've got the tag, we've got the body and the legs. What's now? We're going to put a hackle round. So we take just a normal ginger cock hackle. Size it up for the size of the hook. There's one here. Strip off the front bit that we don't want. Tie it in as you would any hackle, really. Just tie it in facing up. You don't really want this as a backwards hackle. And just bring the silk up. Give it a few turns round to lock it in. But 3 or 4 is enough usually. We'll bring it down as well. There we go. Now, snip off that edge of the quill. Hackle pliers at the ready. Here they are. Just take the tip of the hackle. Now, you don't want to over hackle this fly, because we're actually going to cut off half the hackle afterwards. So usually about 2 or 3 turns. We'll give it 1, 2. You can just pull these fibres back when you go around each time, and we'll give it a 3rd one as well. There we go. And then just bring your silk back one turn and catch it in, tie it in nice and tight. Don't worry about the hook bending at this point either. They're not meant to snap. So trim off that bit there, and it's the hackle. Now we're going to take a last little pinch of that fur that was left over, there it is, and we're going to make a nice little plump bushy head. So we're going to just put some on the silk. We're going to slide it up towards the head, pull those fibres back, and then just bring it around. Oh, wait, we'll just tighten up a little bit at the end. That was a wee bit too fast for me that time. And bring it around, and oh, there you go. It just slips down nicely over that head of silk you built up. Then give it a few tight touches and turns to form a head. Up comes the Stone Age whip finish. I still like this for small flies. Anything under a size 12, this is what I use always still. And give it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Bring it back, and the job's a good one. Trim that. Oh, there's a couple of fibres there I've got. We'll just trim them off as well. And there we go. So we've only got 2 things left to do now. We're going to varnish the fly. Again with my ultra fancy high-tech nail varnish. I mean, you can use any varnish you want, really, as long as it's waterproof. I like nail varnish still. It's never let me down. And we put some on the head. Plus, I've got a wife and 2 daughters, so I've got an endless supply of this stuff. Tighten it back on. And then we're just going to take our hackle, and any hackle that's lying around, there's one here, and we're just going to pass it through the eye to make sure all of that varnish is gone. So we'll just take off the fuzz there. It's always a good tip if you're varnishing your flies. Don't worry about using too little or making it neat, because you can always pull a hackle through and tidy it up. So that's the fly finished. Apart from this last thing, we're going to cut the bottom of the hackle off here. We want this fly to sit quite low in the water surface. We want the silhouette of the fly to come through more to the fish without the fibres actually coming through. And that's a finished fly. So I hope you enjoyed that, and keep it wildside fishing. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Okay, bye.